If someone did try to argue that point, we would say that they're really
deep fat fried.
All right, let's take a look at this crazy chick. I don't know if she's crazy. Maybe she's not. I don't know.
Beauty is objective.
Beauty is objective. Beauty is objective. Beauty is objective.
This is Julia James Davis, and welcome to The War on Beauty. One of the most common comments that I get on the war on beauty is that beauty is subjective. And this comment ranges in tone from a really innocent curiosity to an incensed anger. And I think that this is such a common comment because it really reflects the understanding of beauty in the Western mind, which is basically summed up in the phrase, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's become such a truism, but the problem is that it's not true. It's actually a falsity. So we should...
All right. That's just stating the premise. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be self-evidently true, though, right? Because different people do have different ideas about what's beautiful.
For
sure.
All right. Well, I'm wondering if there's going to be anything in her premise that addresses that. It's taste based.
First define, though, before we set out to answer that question or even really think about it, what is meant by objective or subjective? These have become such commonly used phrases, and I think really with complex definitions, very philosophical and intellectual definitions behind them. But I think the most simple definition that I've heard is by John Ruskin, which, yes, I talk about him all the time in my videos.
Ah, yes. John Ruskin, of course.
Of course, all of us here on the show
we're all familiar.
Yes, we're all intimately familiar with John Ruskin, and I have a very carefully prepared rebuttal to this as soon as she says which Ruskin quote she's going to use.
Indeed.
Because I'm working my way through Modern Painters, his masterpiece, but he gives a really clear, simple definition of objective and subjective, which is objective is how things are, and subjective is how things seem to me. But to accept this definition would also be to accept that there are really real things. There is such things as an objective reality.
I don't know, maybe. Quite possibly, sure. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, we have no choice but to live like, reality exists. I mean, it can be fun to speculate on the subjectivity of reality, but...
I mean, for pragmatic purposes, yeah, there's objectivity.
Right.
Philosophically, on a deeper level, is there objectivity? We don't really have enough information.
But this has become really difficult in our times as we're living kind of in...
Do you think it was less difficult in previous? It's actually easier now than it's ever been.
Yeah, because we have instant access to the thoughts of all of these great thinkers and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Not only that, we have more knowledge of reality scientifically, so
well, also through these great thinkers and scientists and stuff. Yeah.
So, I mean,
through these.
Did you hear that? Okay. I don't know what that was about.
The wake of a disastrous multi-hundred-year run of pseudo-philosophical intellectualism that has decreed that nothing really exists outside of us.
I don't think anyone's decreed that. Maybe someone has. I mean, sure. But I've not really seen that sentiment. I mean, like, questioning reality is one thing. Saying that you fucking...
Reality is questioned all the time.
Wait a minute. She said nothing exists outside us, so solipsism?
Yeah, it'd be like a solipsistic point of view. So, I mean, I guess there are people who believe that.
Yeah, I've met a solipsist or two.
But, yeah, that's really not taken too philosophically seriously. At least in circles I've seen, but I don't know.
Hello, human. I'm Nug. You will subscribe and become a Pessimist Productions patron.
And become a free member on Kick to enjoy live streams of Deep Fat Fried every week, deep dives every Saturday,
or other shows such as Hey Paul, what you watching? Backseat Gaming, Ideology, Commentaries,
mega shows every month,
and more. Click the link. Feed.
That understanding...
It seems like what you're really talking about is like the postmodernist impulse to question reality, which is questioning it is not the same thing as declaring it false. Right? So,
Right.
But there's multiple hypotheses wherein we could question the nature of reality. I mean, science itself rests on some assumptions. There's the simulation hypothesis that we've discussed on this channel a bunch of times. So, you know.
Has quite noxiously mixed with the contemporary thought that the only thing matters now are our emotions and our trauma and our damage, and that's just how we see the world.
The fuck are you talking about? You've lost me.
Yeah. I'm very confused at that point, but okay.
This sounds like you're like specifically targeting like certain people, but not mentioning them by name or something. I don't know.
So the recognition of beauty now lies not in the eye of the beholder, but in the diseased eye of the emotionally dysregulated beholder.
Well, that's
Wait
a
a minute.
beholder, though. I mean, like, what?
Yeah, it's still the beholder's eye.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
if it's,
matter.
It doesn't matter if it's abused or dysregulated or anything else. Like, none of that is fucking pertinent. It's still the
and
eye of
people
the
that are
beholder, you
mentally
moron.
ill, people that are mentally ill and poorly emotionally regulated are your brothers and sisters in humanity too, you weird fucking reptile. Like, they're not other species of people. They're not categorizable that way.
Weird. Like, that's the very nature of a beholder is that they might think differently than you.
Yes. That's why beauty is in the eye of the beholder is a truism in most people's
By
minds.
the way, I don't believe that's a modern saying.
It isn't. No.
I don't know when exactly
it is.
it emanates from.
Here, well, I'll find out for you.
Yeah, go ahead and check for me, Paul, because I'm pretty sure that's an old saying. Maybe it's more recent than I think. But she's saying it's like, oh, this is ultra modern idea. But I don't believe that to be the case.
But that
This video feels very much like a grift.
The saying first appeared in the 3rd century in BC.
It's
in
actually
Greek.
It's actually older than I thought it was. This
Wow.
modern idea
And
that
ancient.
beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You know, this modern 3rd century idea.
This ancient philosophical concept, you mean? Is that what you meant to say?
And I'm sure the concept existed before the saying did.
it's just
Yeah.
not the way that things are. It's not objective. So
Okay.
one of the first proofs put
So, yeah, here's
forward.
a Shakespeare quote that I like too: "Is beauty is brought by judgment of the eye."
Yeah, which is basically the same thing.
No, it's objective. When you're
Shakespeare didn't know what the
Paul,
fuck
your
his
eyes
dumb
are
ass was talking
dysregulated,
about.
Discombobulated. You don't know anything.
Shakespeare was a fucking imbecile, all right?
You do
To
nothing.
support this idea that beauty is subjective is that our preference for things have changed over time.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take another example out of modern painters because
Okay.
it's a really simple one, which is comparing two ages that had a sort of different take on beauty, which is the Greeks, who placed the body over all things and regarded nature insofar as it could support, nourish,
We
and
just
give
found out that the
comfort
Greeks
to the
are also the source of beauty is the eye of the beholder, as well as far as we can tell.
Yeah.
It first appears in writings in Greece.
I
So
always
this is a
love-
bad spot for you to start.
Yeah, let's take these really ancient cultures that I now can say they agreed with me or they disagreed with me. It's like you don't even know. You don't.
I want to
the
know how
exact
she's gonna.
cultural
I want to know how
thoughts
she's gonna
of that
thread this
culture
needle, dude. Because like
at that time.
she's like, well,
I think
Go
I
ahead.
think maybe what she's doing is conflating cultural preference or cultural fads with individual preference and the wide variety that comes with it, right? Like, is there a beauty standard when you look at the output of our culture right now?
I can
Sure.
just turn her
When
down.
it comes to women and men, there is a certain way that they look. But the whole point is that there's a wide variety of people that don't like that. There's plenty of dudes that want smaller asses and, you know, narrower hips, and there's plenty of women that like a fat, chunky guy. And not this,
Theirs is a diseased mentality.
body.
Right.
And this showed really strongly in their epic poetry, in the works of Homer, and also the very body-centric statuary and their painted vases and wall art. But then let's compare them to the medievals, who with their Christianity, which changed their view of the world and living in an altogether different society than the ancients, gave more honor to nature for nature's sake, including a shifting view of things like the mountains, which the Greeks greatly...
Okay, so I don't understand how this doesn't go against your point. I'm interested to see how you're going to thread the needle of like
massively confused by this like
different eras of different civilizations had different standards of beauty. Therefore, beauty is objective.
To be quite frank, it's insulting to anyone with any historical perspective on any of this stuff.
But what's
really,
the argument here? I'm curious what she's even going to say about how these very distinct aesthetic differences are going to fucking.
It's always. When someone has some big, like, I figured out reality video, it's always dumb shit, dude. It's always stupid, and it's loaded with all this fucking fluff.
Well, maybe she's going to surprise you, Scotty. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe this will be the first
disliked
one.
and feared.
Thanks for
but the
this,
medievals, because they had Christianity, while they still sort of feared the mountains, they also saw it as a place for spiritual purification and connection, because it often, the mountains come up in scripture as a place where God talks to Moses, the Sermon on the Mount, and so on. So again, all of this change is reflected in medieval poetry, literature, art, all their tapestries, paintings, etc. But if our understanding of beauty is really as mutable, arbitrary, and personal as these modern philosophers insist, then we, I think, would look back on what was considered beautiful in those past times, like the Greeks or the medievals, and then no longer find what they found attractive, beautiful today, or as holding much value today. But of course, and with very...
That's retarded. So that assumes that you and I would like every single painting from those eras that was considered beautiful at the time.
Yeah. I've been moved to tears by paintings, and I've looked at paintings that were, and I've been in the presence of some paintings that are considered to be high art just from their positioning, and went like, not really for me. Doesn't really move me at all.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really understand. I mean, just because something is still considered beautiful by someone today, and it was as it was then, doesn't mean that beauty is some kind of immutable thing.
Like, I've been in front of a Jackson Pollock twice in my life, and it's just not for me. I don't really appreciate the chaos of it. It was fun. It's fun to look at. It was definitely an interesting painting to look at, but it's not something that's like burned into my mind indelibly. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there are other people that will weep at a Jackson Pollock. So it's like, what are you going to do?
The mentally unwell.
I mean, how do you account for that?
The diseased, tainted mind of the
Is it just because I'm not educated enough to have an opinion, or I'm too emotionally deregulated or whatever to have an opinion on this? Is that what she's saying?
I don't know. I guess so.
Very few exceptions, we find beauty in what they also found beautiful. We can look at a statue from ancient Greece and get just as much aesthetic satisfaction.
How do you know? How do you know we are getting just as much aesthetic satisfaction as someone from ancient Greece? How do you know there weren't people in ancient Greece looking at that statue and be like, meh, overrated slop. Bunch of stone slop. That's all that is. You don't know these things. You can't possibly quantify that.
If not maybe more than a contemporary viewer would. And nor do we look at works made closer to our own time and scrap them just because our style has changed. For example, they're still selling 19th century William Morris prints alongside 1990s Laura Ashley prints at Home Goods.
So? What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. Therefore what? What are you talking about? She has a bob, she knows. Manson, come here.
Manson. Come here, Manson.
Styles have changed, but we still find value in that work. And we can use another non-art example to illustrate this point further.
You haven't illustrated it at all. Hey, it's a cat.
It's Manson.
Manson.
Oh, now they're kidding. Hey.
Too many cats. Too many cats. Too many cats. Too many cats.
Here.
Because sometimes we get wrapped up in the fact that we are now projecting this whole beauty is in the eye of the beholder so hard onto art. But let's talk about flowers instead. What if we said orchids are so in right now and peonies and ranunculus are so out?
Then I wouldn't give a shit. Who cares?
I mean, surely there are trends in flowers. I remember when I got married the first time, you get dragged to all the things as a man that you don't really care that much about. And one of them was, what kind of flowers are we going to use? And I remember being pitched on a lot of people are moving away from these traditional roses and moving towards, their other favorite flowers, daisies. We did a sunflower wedding. There are a lot of options and blah, 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 blah. So I know that just like everything else, these things come and go. It doesn't mean that people don't appreciate the beauty of a rhododendron or whatever the fuck this thing was called. Mm-hmm. It's just, the popular. I think that's what it is. I think I nailed it. I think she is confusing cultural fascination and cultural fads and trends with objective beauty.
Perhaps.
Because what she just said too, it's like that she showed that medieval stuff. There are people that look back at those medieval tapestries and shit, and they're like, wow, what a beautiful historical representation of animals and nature and stuff like that. I look at most of that shit. I look at most of that shit and I go, whatever. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. They were working on something, but when I really start appreciating, art is the Renaissance. That's my tastes. When it got more detailed and more anatomical and,
This would express a change in taste, but it would have no bearing on the real beauty of the peony or the ranunculus. Let
me ask you a question. Are these things beautiful in a vacuum without a human to perceive them?
Good girl, John.
If a tree falls in the woods and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Right. So, I mean, in the absence of any human perception to look at this thing and be like, wow, beautiful. Is it beautiful? I would say no. Maybe you would say yes. I don't know.
It's because it's dependent on an observer there to assign it beauty.
Because we don't know of anything else in the universe that has a capacity for oh, it's beautiful. That's an us thing. Maybe some other animals have it. We don't know.
Yeah, medieval lions were goofy as fuck. Thanks, Maximus Ogerman, for 5 subscriptions.
Hell yes.
Never say that just because they're a little bit less popular in arrangements now, that ranunculus is somehow now devoid of beauty. If someone did try to argue that point, we would say that they're really untethered from reality and are just...
No, I would just say that's their opinion. If someone was like, I don't like that flower, I wouldn't be like, you're untethered from reality. I'd just be like,
exactly
oh, okay, well, we've all
Clearly
got our different
peonies.
tastes. I don't know.
Clearly, the ranunculus is objective beauty. You are untethered from reality and poorly emotionally regulated, TJ.
Well, that's true. Fair enough.
Yeah,
I got you there.
That's true of everybody. Everybody's on a sliding scale of that shit, and opinions on the ranunculus and the peony are widely varied.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like most people probably would say it's pretty, but if someone said it wasn't, it's like, I don't really like it. I wouldn't be like, you're untethered from reality, sir. You know nothing of the reality of the reality, bitch. Okay, I'm back, I guess.
I mean, there's been some objective and subjective beauty happening just over the course of this video for me, because when you first brought it on, I was like, damn, that's kind of a cute chick. Now that I've heard what vomit comes out of her brain, I'm like, ew, like, no.
Never
Get
mind.
out of here. So
my camera protests. Oh, there, it's back, maybe? Okay, I don't know. We'll see.
Speaking bizarrely. It would make no sense. But how much more if we said the same thing about art? Okay. Beauty is real.
Well, that's enough of that. I'm pretty sure I don't follow this woman's logic.
It's also real. Garbage. Garbage is real.
I'm pretty sure there's nothing like logic being fucking presented here, so.